Hi everyone, hope you're all doing good. Right, this is the second round draw for the 19th edition of the Tapology Lucky Bastard Game. And it was a pretty brutal first round, I'm not going to lie. We started with 28 who entered originally, and now we are already left with just 11 players left, which is probably the biggest percentage elimination of a first round. But yeah, so those that did manage to make it through to the second round are A. Boom Shakalaka, Calfoth, Kanhaga Ruiz, Fresno MMA, KK Kombu, Mason O, Mule Floyd, Shat, Schwer Industry, and Trig. That's it, yeah. So just those 11 left for the second round. This might not be one of our longest games. Might be one of the shorter ones, at least in recent memory, if the wheel carries on like this. But anyway, that's what the game's all about, isn't it? You got to be lucky to get through. Those 11 were, and they are through to UFC 301. Alexandre Alexandre Pantoja versus Steve Urseg. And quite frankly, if you'd have told me, say, about maybe the start of the year or thereabouts, that Steve Ursig would be fighting for the title already, that I'd have told you to go see a shrink, because that's how sort of meteoric his rise has been. He's only been in the UFC, I think, with two or three fights. He's not been there very long, and he's looked very good in there. He's certainly deserving of his space in the rankings. I think he's ranked number 10 last time I checked, and he's worthy of that ranking. But yeah, I think I can't help but think that this has been a bit rushed to the title shot. Alexandre Pantoja is well, a very experienced fighter. Uh, Obviously beat Brandon Moreno for the belt. Then defended it against Brandon Royval, but yeah, and I think Pantoja is just way too much of a step up. And to be honest, I don't understand it. Why he's already been given a fight? He's looked good. It's been entertaining. So I'm not complaining about the fight itself, but I'm very surprised that Usyk's been given this opportunity ahead of some of the other fighters in the division, like Manel Cape and Mohamed Makayev, and it's an interesting one, that's so to speak. But overall, I think Pantoja, because of that, wins a very easy decision. That's my official pick for that one. Maybe even a sub. I think if he's going to finish, I think it's probably going to be by submission, but I think a decision is going to be more likely. Anyway, you're not here to talk about, here to listen to me ramble on about the how low I rate Urseg's chances in this fight. Good luck to him. Amazing upset if he pulls it off, but you're here to see who you're getting drawn with in the in this round. So, without further ado, let's get going on the game. First is uh, A or love my arse off, and AZ, however he chooses to pronounce it. Let's see who we'll be drawn with. And if my intro is anything to go by, that is almost certain he's going to get through to the third round. And Andre Pantoja. Alexandre Pantoja. I can't pronounce his fucking first name for some reason today. I don't know why. I've not even been drinking that much. Anyway, Pantoja. Can't even spell it either. Pantoja. Anyway, not a lot I can really add to that one. If I'm being honest, given I've already just Stacey's should win a very comfortable unanimous decision against Steve Urseg, just a little bit too inexperienced. So, well, it's certainly by UFC comparison, yeah. So 3 fights in, is already getting a title shot. Most fighters are still struggling to get a ranking spot after about 10 fights. But I reckon that's a very safe one anyway for a. Let's see if Boom Shakalaka is going to be as fortunate with the wheel. And he gets Elvis Brenner. Elvis Brenner for Boom Shakalaka. Uh, yeah, there's not as confident in him. I've actually got his opponent. I'm gonna butcher this pronunciation. Mike Tykebeck or Alibi. Yeah, I apologise for that one because that was an awful attempt at it. But I've picked him to win by second round knockout. But honestly, I think this is more of a coin flip fight. Um, it's not a certainty, but I think it is 50-50. It's a case one of them's gonna stop the other one. That's how I see it. So maybe Brenner can be the one to find the knockout, but and I'm a little bit biased because I do watch a fair bit of LFA. I don't know why any likes that particular promotion, but they always do good shows. The production value is always quality, and yeah, I suppose my memories of seeing him on there is probably what swayed it for me. I guess trying to be more aware of my biases, and that's probably where my little bias for that fight's come from. But Elvis Brenner for Boom Shakalaka. Cal Foth next to take on the wheel. And he gets drawn with Yasmin Lucindo. Yasmin Lucinda there for Cal Foth. And again, I've got her opponent, Carolina Carol. Again, I'm going to butcher this one as well, Polish surname. Carolina Karolichwicz. Carolina K. I'm just going to refer to her as. She's the bookie's underdog for this one. According to me, or scribbled down here, she's like 310 plus 310 to win. Which I'm not sure why, but she's got more UFC fights on her records. So I don't know why she's the underdog. Really, I don't know. Maybe bookies know something I don't. But for me, that on paper, that seemed like a fairly clear Carolina K's decision. But the bookies certainly favour Lucindo, and obviously that's good news for Calforth. So who knows? We're very interesting to keep an eye on that one because I completely disagree with the bookies there. But Calforth will be hoping the bookies know their shit. Can Hago Ariz next to take on the wheel? And he gets Alessandro Costa. Alessandro Costa there for Canhego Ariz. And let's see what I've got written down here for him. I actually haven't got anything written down. Uh, oh, here he is. Right, yeah. Again, as well, not got much written down anyway, to be honest with you. I've picked him to win by a decision, but I've not made many notes really. The only difference I've scribbled down between them is that Costa's got slightly more fights, 13-4 records, compared to Kevin Borges' 9-2. Honestly, I think the main difference is going to be Costa's from Brazil and Borges is from Peru. And it shouldn't be the case, but it is. Obviously, this is being held in Brazil. Home fighters do usually have a bit of an advantage there. And that is, I think that will be a factor in that one. But Canhego Ruiz isn't going to mind a bias if the as long as the home crowds do get behind him, influence the judges in some way. He's not going to mind just as long as he gets through to that magical third round. Fresno MMA next to take on the wheel. And he also gets Alexandre Pantoja. Alexandre Pantoja there. I can't spell that name for shit today. Anyway, as I said on the intros, I'm expecting him to put in quite a convincing performance. Really, this is no UFC title fight is an easy fight. You're fighting the best in the world, but it's this as far as UFC title fights do go, and so as far as defenses go, this is I'd have thought one of the easier ones. Yes, Usyk's a dangerous fighter. He's uh, got knockout power. We saw that against Schnell in his last fight, but and he does have quite a few submission wins on his record as well. But they've mostly been over Eternal MMA over in Australia, which doesn't quite translate to UFC level. But overall, should be a very comfortable decision win at least for Pantoja. So I can see Fresno along with A, who had him earlier, getting through to the third round. KK Kombu next to take on the wheel. And he gets the guy whose name I absolutely butchered earlier on in the video, Mike Kaitek Olby. That is, I've all I can do is just apologise to him and his loved ones and fans and but seriously, then again, would it have killed you to put a couple of vowels in there? Seriously, I mean, I don't know, but Oral just have to bear with me while I spell this out as well. Jesus, what a name. Anyway, the good news about that is that I have picked him to win, as I mentioned earlier, because let's see, the winners who had Elvis Brenner as Boom Shakalaka had Elvis Brenner earlier, and I mentioned there that I picked him to picks Mike Oral by to win by. I'm just going to call him Mo from here on in. Mo. That's going to make it a lot easier. I picked him to win by was it a second round knockout? Got written down there. Sure, I said decision earlier. Maybe probably a slip of the tongue there, but one of the ones where like I say, coin flip fight. One of them's going to get sparked out, and for KK Kombu's sake, I favour it to be Mo for this one rather than Elvis Brenner. Moving on to Mason O or Mason Zero, however you want to pronounce it. He's ironically being drawn with Elvis Brenner, the opponent of Mo, and also had along with Boom Shakalaka. So that could end up being the main event of this round, the main event of the Tapology Lucky Bastard game. And it's always interesting as one of the closer fights being the main event of it. So be very interesting to see how that plays out. But already got 2v1 of our 11. We're down to our last 4 already. That went quickly, didn't it? Well, probably not for you guys that have had to suffer through my rambling, but for me, it's gone pretty quick. We're already on to Mule Floyd. Mule Floyd is being paired up with Kevin Borges. Kevin Borges there for Mule Floyd. And yeah, it's he had someone had his opponent though, isn't they? Yes, Alessandro Costa. Again, the fight just comes down to Brazil versus Peru, in my opinion, that one. And unfortunately, he lands on the side of Peru, and I think simply because of that, they seem fairly evenly matched on paper, so it's a good fight. It should be a very tentative affair, but I think Kevin's probably going to have to work harder for a decision win than Alessandro Costa would. So, um, of course, the safest option is always just try and finish your opponent. Obviously, don't even let it get to the judges, but obviously that's easier said than done. But anyway, Neil Floyd will be hoping that he can cause something of an upset and get it done tomorrow night. And the Brazilian crowd's always a tough place to get a result. They're very intimidating. Can't imagine what it's like fighting in a cage, but especially not with one of their crowds around. I mean, I like to think when the UFC comes to London, we make a noise, but we're not nothing compared to the Brazilians. They really bring the passion. Not always necessarily in a good way, I have to be honest. But they're certainly fired up. Let's put it that way. Shat is next to take on the wheel. And he gets the main event underdog, Steve Urseg. In a way, I'm kind of glad someone's got him because I would like to see him win because that would be one of the, in my opinion, one of the larger title upsets in recent memory. And he always puts on exciting fights. So I'd like to see him get the win, but I just can't realistically see it happening. But yes, I think Pantoja's experience is just going to make all the difference here. And yeah, I just can't see any reasonable path to victory for Steve Urseg, just barring maybe a flash knockout. But I would be surprised if Pantoja got caught by one of Urseg's combinations. That's how he tends to throw it, isn't it? It's quite solid boxing. What was it? It was a hook, wasn't it? That knocked out Matt Schnell with, but yeah, no, I'd be surprised if Pantoja did get caught with something like that. Not impossible though, and weirder things have happened in the sport. Schwer Industry next to take on the wheel, and he gets Vitor Petrino. Vitor Petrino there, who's in my opinion probably one of the more likely ones. So that's I think it's quite a good pick there for Schwer Industry. He's obviously facing off against the veteran Anthony Lionheart Smith, who's to be honest, I was surprised to learn. No disrespect at all, but I was surprised to learn he was only 35. I thought he was a bit older than that, but yeah, he's had a hell of a lot of fights in his career, and truth be told, he is past his prime. He's one thing the UFC does like to do is feed their veterans to their up and comers, and Anthony Smith is about as experienced as the veterans come on their roster, and Vitor Petrino, on the other hand, 11-0, undefeated, is could be a, could be a big star in the light heavyweight division in the next few years, and this feels like a showcase fight for him. So I've got him to win by a third round knockout there. I think he could. I think Smith's going to be smart enough and experienced enough to hang in there, maybe last the distance, but. He has been knocked out a few times badly in his last fight as well. But you know, I'm not sure how much of his chin is still there. And Petrino he hits like a fucking lorry, doesn't he? Is He's a very powerful puncher, a very dangerous fighter. On paper, it just looks like an awful matchup for Anthony Smith. And again, similar to Usyk, I'd love to see him pull off the upset. I'd love to see him. Always nice to see the veterans get another little run going towards the end of their career, but I can't see it happening if I'm being completely honest. But anyway, for Schwer Industry, he's with Victor Petrino. I think that's quite a safe bet to get through to the third round. And finally, we're on to Trig. Trig's taking on the wheel now. Let's see who's going to round it off for us. And he also gets drawn with Iasim Lucindo. Iasim Lucindo there for Trig, who is mentioned earlier. Is I've picked again. She's the favourite. She's the bookie's favourite. But I'm going with Carolina Kay for the decision win. Like I say, just more experience, more UFC fights under her belt. But who knows? Maybe that could be the fight that shows I just don't know shit about MMA. But anyway, it's bookie's favourite. So like Cal Foth, he's going to be hoping that the bookies know their shit and I don't. So that completes the draw already. It's felt a bit shorter than normal. Obviously, there's less players. That's usually the main factor of that. But just to run through those again quickly. A has been drawn with Alexandre Pantoja in the main event. Boom Shakalaka with Elvis Brenner. Cal Foth with Arjun Lucindo. Canhego Ruiz with Alessandro Costa. Fresno MMA also with Alexandre Pantoja. KK Kombu with MO. Mason O with Elvis Brenner. Mule Floyd with Kevin Borges. Shat with the underdog of the main event, Steve Urseg. Schwer Industry with Victor Petrino, and Trig with Iasim Lucindo. So that concludes the second round draw of the 19th edition of the Tapology Lucky Bastard Game. And as always, good luck to the people remaining in these games. Good luck to all your Tapology picks, and especially if you've got any bets on the cards. Always nice to see people win a bit of money off the bookies. Lord knows they have enough of it already, them bloody bookies. But until next time, so long for now.